7th PNG Games officially opened. Provincial teams raring to go. And airline operators look to achieving results.
This is the National EMTV News with Helen Sayer.
Good evening, this is Saturday's news. We begin our bulletin tonight with the opening ceremony of the 7th PNG Games in Kimbe. After a big day of events today, we are just about to see the fireworks show finale of the opening ceremony. These are live pictures coming to you from the Mutterville Stadium.
But I want us to put our hands together. This is a big thanks to our beautiful people at NCD. Put our hands together because it is by them that we had our skies light up like that. Put your hand one time. NCDC.
And that was the 2017 PNG Games opening ceremony fireworks show, signaling the start of 2 weeks of competitive sporting action in West New Britain. We'll be back with our normal bulletin after this break. Stay tuned. Welcome back to the news. Governor-General Sir Bob Dadai has officially opened the 7th PNG Games in Kimbe, West New Britain Province. It began with a parade this afternoon at the Mutterville Stadium, where participating teams marched with flying colours, displaying their cultural pride. While most teams are still making their way to the host venue, it's anticipated they will still arrive before the Games officially kick off.
Quite a smaller group compared to Team Morobe.
Yes, Team Morobe, they're also making the exit around, and here comes...
The Mutterville Stadium in Kimbe was packed to a roaring crowd as participating teams paraded into the main arena. Morobe handed over the PNG Games trophy and fled to the host, West New Britain, officiated by Governor Kinson Saunu, to his comrade Sasindran Mutterville.
Now best of luck, now all the best along PNG Games. Thank you.
Team Morobe opened the parade, followed by Central, East New Britain, NCD, Oro, Sundown, Simbu, Milne Bay, Manus, Southern Highlands, and the autonomous region of Bougainville. Host Team West New Britain is competing in all 21 sporting codes with 517 athletes and officials.
The host team is the only team that will be taking part in all 21 sports on offer.
It was the national anthem which united the 7th PNG Games. Followed with a word of prayer which declares Papua New Guinea as a Christian nation.
Grasped his heart in an hour of fierce temptation and led him to exclaim, "How can I do this great wickedness?"
And also a welcome song for all contingents to the 7th PNG Games to the Oil Palm Province. The 7th PNG Games has enhanced development through sports.
Given the reception, as we welcome you to enjoy the Games and every moment of your stay.
Governor-General of Papua New Guinea Sir Bob Dadai then officially declared the 7th PNG Games open.
We officially declare the 7th BSP PNG Games in Kimbe 2017 now open. On that note, I would like to encourage you all to put your best effort into your games. This is your opportunity to demonstrate your talent and passion for your sports, whether it is individual or team sports. What do you aim to achieve from these games? What are your goals and aspirations as sportsmen and women? As sportsmen and women, each of you not only represent yourselves, you represent your family, your tribe, your clan, your province, and most importantly, your country, beautiful Papua New Guinea. You strive to achieve wins.
Fabian Hakelitz, National EMTV News.
Team Milne Bay and East New Britain were amongst several provincial teams with full contingents parading at the BSP PNG Games opening ceremony, while athletes and officials from the other participating provinces are expected to arrive in the coming days.
West New Britain capital Kimbe was buzzing with traditional dances and local choir groups, welcoming provinces as they make their way into the Independence Oval prior to the official opening ceremony. The provincial teams were treated with the true West New Britain culture, as pigs and food were distributed to each provincial teams. Team Milne Bay came out in full number with over 200 plus athletes and officials, being one of the strong medal contenders in the last PNG Games in Leh.
We're looking at the para sports, who they also did very well last year at the Moroba game. They got 4 bronze. We're looking to improve that result this game. We also got some good result from the netball, volleyball, and so we're looking at some upset in those courts.
Whilst most of the designated huts remained empty, Team Sundown manager Ben Basaronge said the team flies into Kimbe this afternoon.
So the leftover will be maybe tomorrow or maybe the day after. In all, we have only 5 codes. That's para, athletics, boxing, that, and rugby nines. So these are the codes that we will be partaking in. Team Sundown is ready to partake in this event. So when they come, we will have to do what we can for the all provinces.
Team Sundown will fly in a total of 104 athletes with 8 officials and will participate in 5 sporting codes. Having won the bronze medal in darts competition in Leh 2014, the team surely will aim to better that record.
We competed in the last Pacific Games in Leh. They got a bronze for that. So we're thinking that maybe this time they'll get something more higher than what they have got the last time.
East New Britain, another strong medal contenders behind NCD, and winner of the last PNG Games, Morobe, sends in a total of 500 participants competing across 19 sporting codes. The official games commences on Monday, the 28th of this month, with most teams expected to arrive late today and tomorrow. Shane Saroya, National EMTV News, Kimbe.
Team Southern Highlands is prepared and ready to compete in the PNG Games in Kimbe, despite funding hiccups and challenges faced after the 2017 national elections. The 208 participants will be in Kimbe in time for the Games. Chairman Sape Molumi said it's not about winning gold. For them, it is about participating in a national event.
Over 200 athletes from Southern Highlands Province are prepared to participate in the PNG Games next week. Despite financial challenges, the team from Southern Highlands is looking forward to give their best. Team Chairman Sape Molumi said the team has been preparing since last year.
Prepared already. We participated in about 19 courts for these courts. So we have a contingent of 280 athletes. If in all everything was in okay, we should have organized.
Mr. Molumi gave credit to the previous provincial government who had allocated 300,000, which under his leadership had been kept and used to finance travel arrangements for the team. He said participation of the team is very important as the province prepares itself to host the 2019 PNG Games.
By 2019 will be Southern Highlands. So that was, we bid it in 2014 and we won the bid in 2015. So in 2019 we should host the PNG Games. In terms of development, we are planning and scheduling and all this we've already done that, and we've even done NC submission and put it on the budget. Provincial government have already allocated some money, but it's not due to the cash flow situation. Have not been released.
He said many important sporting events this year have diverted the government's attention, but by next year, concentration will be in Southern Highlands to build infrastructure to host the 8th PNG Games. An estimated 70 million kina is required for infrastructure development for 2019, and Sape and his team are prepared to take on the task. He also called on Southern Highlands citizens to help support the Southern Highlands team in cash or kind, as help is still needed. Stacey Yallo, National EMTV Sports.
After almost 3 years of delay, West New Britain Province is now set for the 7th PNG Games, which will run for 2 weeks. The game, dubbed the biggest sporting event in the country, however, got off on a slow start this morning in Kimbe town. Although all participating provinces have arrived in the province, not all of them took part in an opening ceremony, which the host province highly considered as a form of welcome for their visitors.
Yesterday's heavy downpour gave way to a humid Saturday morning in Kimbe town. It was a slow morning for the township that has waited anxiously for almost 3 years to host the event. A significant portion of West New Britain's 270,000 men, women and children flocked into Kimbe town as early as 9 this morning, ahead of the official procession of the provincial teams. Security personnel were dispatched to control the curious onlookers who are using unauthorized entry points to get a glimpse of the ceremony. The official opening ceremony, however, got off on a slow start after most of the provincial teams didn't turn up for the first part of the ceremony, a traditional welcome that involved the sharing of pigs to each of the participating teams. The PNG Games is a colorful event, and colorful events have been few and far between recent years in this part of the country. And after almost 3 years of preparations, it had finally paid off. West New Britain Province will for the first time set a benchmark for the province that played host to the biggest sporting event in the country. Edwin Fidelis, National EMTV News, Kimbe.
National EMTV News will be back with more after the break. Stay tuned. Welcome back. With challenges of economic downfall and competition in the aviation industry, airline operators are also reviewing how best they can be profitable to achieve results. The recent appointment of Air Niugini's new sales manager for the New Guinea Islands region is keen to increase sales targets focused on delivering key results. Chief Executive Officer Simon Fu is confident sales targets will reach greater heights for Air Niugini as Papua New Guinea's premier leading airline.
He is East New Britain's own Robin Taman, the new sales manager for the New Guinea Islands Regional Sales Office. Taman brings himself wealth of experience with over 25 years of loyalty to Air Niugini since 1992 as a domestic check-in officer. Chief Executive Officer Simon Fu is confident Taman can manage the regional sales performance and improve targets. Based in Rabaul, he will oversee Air Niugini's sales operations in Buka, Hoskins, Caving and Manus and maintain a high-level sales culture focused on delivering results by providing ongoing coaching and development of support staff. He was port manager for Moro in Southern Highlands before his last appointment as Alatau port manager in 2016. Taman thanked Air Niugini management for the trust and confidence in him. Taman is one of those who believes in customer service culture and provides leadership to meet Air Niugini's goals.
The first people that the tourists see is we at the airport, not in only Air Niugini but the NAC staff and all the other airline operators. And that's the first impression of...
He says to implement the culture of change for the delivery of efficient services because Rabaul is a major domestic port handling over 70 weekly flights. Fabian Hakelitz, National EMTV News.
A power pole was knocked over this morning around 9 a.m. in Port Moresby. This has caused traffic congestion around the 5 Mile and 4 Mile area and power outage for residents in Boroko. It's believed the driver was intoxicated. PNG Power was on site at around 9:30 a.m. to block off traffic for safety reasons. They told EMTV News this was the reason for the power outage in Boroko. They said the main power supply had to be switched off to repair the damaged power pole. Meanwhile, PNG Limited is working in close consultation with the Indonesian government for the commencement of air services into Jayapura. Chief Commercial Officer Paul Abbott says final paperwork has been completed before the inaugural service.
All the necessary paperwork and the approvals processes that we need, and we're continuing to work with the Indonesian government at this stage to make sure that we can finalise areas such as the landing slots and the visa on arrival process that we see as critical to making sure that that route's successful and is an easy route for people flying out of Papua New Guinea to access. So when they land at Sentani, they can have Sentani Airport, Jayapura, they can access their visas there and then carry on through the rest of Indonesia.
And turning overseas now, networks are actually becoming stronger and more organized. And here is another reminder of the dangers that vulnerable migrants often face. Mass funeral in southern Italy, mostly nameless victims of a disaster in the Mediterranean.
6 coffins. A mass casualty funeral. These victims are the latest in an ongoing disaster that has seen thousands die in the Mediterranean Sea over the last several years. There is little known about these victims. They're all women, likely from Nigeria and Niger. 2 were pregnant. 1 was wearing a t-shirt with the words, "I'm super happy." All were between 14 and 20 years of age. Their bodies brought to shore November 5th after their boat capsized off southern Italy. 64 survived. About 100 are missing. These represent just some of the 26 victims of this disaster. Inside each of these coffins is a photo of the victim and information like whether or not they had tattoos, their dental scans, anything that might be able to identify them one day. In the meantime, those who have not been identified are known only by this ticket on the front of their coffin. This one, simply number 4. Most of these young women fit the classic profile of those being trafficked to Italy for sex. Corrado Lembo, the prosecutor in charge of finding out who was responsible for the death of these young women, tells us they are working on the investigation with diligence and compassion. He wants to clarify, not over-dramatize, the reality of the phenomenon of sex trafficking, so he can shine a light on its complexity and hopefully help stop it. Refugees and area students laid flowers on each casket at the end of the ceremony. Representatives from both the Catholic and Muslim communities blessed each coffin. Monsignor Antonio Di Luca told those who had gathered that these young women had died on their search for freedom. Instead, he said, they found death.
The ruling party of President Robert Mugabe is calling on him to resign. That's according to state media. The party also wants the president's wife, Grace Mugabe, to step down from her leadership post. It seems Mr. Mugabe's effort to put his wife in power led to the current political crisis, which began with Wednesday's military coup.
The streets of the capital, Harare, may be gridlocked by a military dragnet. But on the rural outskirts, though, it is calm and free of soldiers. These villages have for decades formed the bulk of Robert Mugabe's support base. And now, with his dramatic fall from power all but signed off by his army, the people who so often voted for him are watching and speaking quietly about the nation's drama. Even in rural areas like this, you get the sense that the news of the apparent coup has reached them all, and in general, people have come to accept it. And now they're waiting to see what the generals will decide for the future of Zimbabwe. We meet Makunde, who served as the secretary for this village's branch of ZANU-PF, Zimbabwe's ruling party. The fate of his long-serving president and his politically ambitious wife is on Makunde's mind. What about Mrs. Mugabe? What do you think of her?
She's still a young woman to rule the country.
She's too young, huh?
She's too young, even gone for war.
She didn't even go to the war,
yeah,
you say?
Sure.
So is this the feeling among ZANU-PF supporters
yeah,
in this
they
village?
wanted someone who is
experienced.
Yeah, with the experience.
Not for free. It is a slow and unhurried life here. But they, more than the city folk, are feeling the pain of an imploding economy and the lack of prospects for their children. We met Andrew, who says he stopped supporting the ruling party a long time ago. and last voted for them in 1980. He says Zimbabweans have suffered for too long.
I support the army for what they did, and they must keep on putting that pedal that he must leave. Whatever they're going to negotiate with him, but he must leave. If he doesn't leave, that means we might suffer more than what we are suffering.
It is the young, though, like Petros and Norbert, who feel no loyalty to Robert Mugabe. They were not even born when he came into power.
Petros, if the president goes, are you going to miss him?
No.
Why?
It's so difficult.
Norbert says they are too afraid to talk politics, but they are curious about what comes next.
We are listening.
You're listening?
About what he says.
Yeah.
We wait for the result, what they comes from.
Well, do you think that the army did a good thing?
Yeah, it's a good thing, because you need to change things.
Yeah?
Yeah.
And it's not just the future for the young. Shadrach has lived in this village all his life. He's in his 80s and has seen the best and worst of an independent Zimbabwe. He says there's nothing to do now but wait and see what the future brings.
You're with Saturday's news. Stay tuned for sporting updates up next in Chukai Sports.
Chukai Sports.
Welcome to Chukai Sports. PNG Karate-Do President Carl Murray is happy to see at least more than 10 teams registered to be in the Games. He says despite athletes losing their interest after the Games were deferred twice, he assured Kimbe is in for a real treat of pure karate action once the Games begin.
At least 13 provinces will participate at this year's PNG Games, more than the number required for the Games.
Well, let me take you back to 2014 when we had the 6th PNG Games in Leh. During that event, we actually had 16 teams who participated in karate, and that was good. But now, since the game has been postponed, I think 2 times, if I can remember correctly, so the momentum of the game has really slowed down, and that has really affected generally the athletes' preparation, but again the teams as well. And it was unfortunate for us that it is now decided. It was decided to have it this year, which is an election year, and that has really impacted upon the number of provinces coming in to participate.
He also commended the people behind every talent who continue to strive and work hard for what they believe in, and that is to producing some of PNG's young talents.
There are about 4 teams who have withdrawn from the tournament, from the games, and so far 1 karate province has withdrawn. By saying this, I mean the provinces that have karate as part of their contingent. So New Ireland has withdrawn, so that leaves only about 15.
He encouraged those participating in the Games to compete at their best and to be great ambassadors.
I think the top 2 will be will be Central and Morobe. And I'm not discounting East New Britain and West New Britain. But the top 2 obviously will be Central and Morobe. Yeah.
Godwin Eki, National EMTV Sports.
Still on karate, 4 athletes from the PNG Karate-Do Federation, Nigel Bana, Quinton Bogan, Cosmas Saliwale and the only female competitor, Crystal Murray, will represent the Federation at this year's Pacific Mini-Games in Vanuatu. Federation President Carl Murray says he is confident and expects to see some medals at the end of the event.
Identified as the country's top kata and kumita fighters, President Murray Carl strongly believes all 4 fighters will do well after showing their worth during the 2015 Pacific Games. He says while he expected to see more than 4 fighters, the justification committee only required top 4.
Currently, we have 4 athletes who are training to go for the Pacific Mini Games. We actually submitted a lot of athletes to be considered by the justification committee, but in their own judgment, they thought that we need to only have 4 athletes, and we are happy with that.
All 4 fighters will compete between the kilograms of 70 kg and 50 kg.
Nigel Bana, he's taking part in Kumite, 60 kgs, and as well as Quinton Bogan, he's taking part in 75 kgs, and Cosmas Saliwali, who is taking part in individual kata, and Crystal Mari, who is taking part in under 55 Kumite as well as kata.
He says from the 4 competitors, 1 athlete will be selected to compete in the open division throughout the competition. Before the 4 athletes depart for Vanuatu, 2 fighters from the team, Nigel Bana and Quinton Bogan, will travel to Okinawa, Japan.
A lot of trainings have been conducted by other countries, and particularly Vanuatu, because they are the host, and I'm sure they've done a lot of work. They've seen what PNG can do in terms of our high performance, and a lot of Pacific countries are talking about that. And I'm sure the competition will be very tough, but I still believe that our 4 athletes will bring home medals.
Godwin Eki, National, EMTV Sports.
The Scottish rugby team is preparing its biggest clash of the season, hoping to break its winless record against the All Blacks.
It's the energy in the Scottish side today, and they'll need every bit of it tomorrow.
New Zealand, if they play extremely well, then we're going to struggle to beat them. So as I said, a lot of what we've got to shut down what they're doing.
Despite the Scottish side being ranked 6th in the world, in June they beat the Wallabies. They're taking the fact that the All Blacks have named their strongest side for tomorrow as a sign of respect. You see, the last time the 2 sides met in 2014, New Zealand only just won.
It's a very, very close game. There wasn't much between it, so that's what we'll be looking to do again, get stuck into them.
It'll also be like a mini reunion for a fair few.
There's a few Scottish players who've played seasons in New Zealand. In fact, the entire front row of the 2012-2013 Sydenham club team in Christchurch is playing this Saturday. That includes Simon Burgeon from the Scottish side, as well as Cody Taylor and Nipu Lalala.
And lock Grant Gilchrist played with Sam Whitelock at his Lincoln University club.
You would have played so much club footy with him, eh?
I did play 1 game. It was my last club game too, actually, so it'd be good to catch up.
For the All Blacks captain, the Scottish side and home turf holds extra special meaning. He debuted here in 2008.
I remember not trying to fall over because it was pitch black when I ran out. It wasn't going to be a good look on the first test, and it went pretty quick.
Tomorrow is exactly 112 years to the day since New Zealand first beat Scotland. They're hoping this time tomorrow that track record won't be broken.
And that's it for True Guy Sports. Weather details for the next 24 hours up next.
True Kai Sports.
The weather details are proudly brought to you by Dulux Weather Shield, with doing with Dulux.
Your weather forecast for tonight in the southern region. Afternoon showers in Port Moresby and Popondetta, showers and thunderstorms in Kerema, and some showers in Daru and Alotau. In the Momase region, afternoon showers in Lae, mostly fine in Medang, and brief morning showers, then mostly fine in Wewak and Vanimo. In the New Guinea Islands region, brief afternoon showers in Lorengau and Kavieng, mostly fine in Kokopo-Rabaul and Kimbe, and fine weather in Buka. And in the Highlands region, morning fog clearing, then afternoon showers in all centres.
The weather details are proudly brought to you by Dulux Weather Shield, with doing with Dulux.
And that's the news, sports and weather for Saturday, November 18, 2017. On behalf of our news team here in POM, over there in Kimbe and around the country, pleasant viewing. Good night.